Hey guys, welcome to Power Within with me, Amy, your heart whisperer therapist. I'm a good wife.
Vicky, I'm the queen of rapid hypnosis.
Together with the Eastwoods, and we're going to be covering therapy,
Hypnotherapy,
couples relationship therapy,
hypnosis, and all the other shit in between.
If it's current, if it's relevant,
we'll be covering it. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to Power Within. Today we're going to talk about menopause, and our special guest is Debbie.
Hello. One of our favourite family members, and a topic that we talk about quite often at the table over dinner, putting the world to rights. But menopause, I don't think we understand it. I definitely don't think the world understands it. And so it would be nice to have your experience, the good, the bad, the shit in between. For anyone out there that doesn't really know where to go to, maybe they can relate. So I know we talked earlier, but I welcome your comments and your feedback for your experiences. And so you were talking earlier that it was 42 when you first went to the doctors?
Yeah, I was probably about, early 40s. Yeah, the twins were probably about 2. And the only reason I went was because I'd screamed at Evie, one of the twins, for whatever reason. And she sort of flinched back from me as if I was going to hit her. And I hadn't even raised my hand. And I just sort of thought, oh my God, I can't let her think that I'm going to do that to her. And I'd felt like this probably for a couple of years, maybe. And so I went to the doctors and just said, you need to help me. I can't be like this with my twins. And ultimately, the doctor first put me on antidepressants, not for being depressed, more for my hormones. So that the medication I was on was called citalopram. And that's, a lot of women are diagnosed that for their hormones, really, not for being depressed. So I was put on that. And then it was only sort of probably 2 years ago that I realised that I should never have been put on antidepressants. I should have been put on HRT. And a lot of people think just because you're still having periods, it means you're not going through the menopause, but that's how perimenopause starts. So that's what they put me on. They put me on citalopram, but I really think I should have been put on HRT back then. So yeah, that's how it all started, really.
Did you have any symptoms before?
I'd had all the low moods. I'd put it more down to just my hormones, really. Like when you're due on your period, I'd always suffered with really low moods and very sort of just got angry, seemed red with everything. The hot sweats started, but they weren't too bad. So I think that's probably how it started. But then the loads of other symptoms followed.
How many years before was that?
That was probably, I'd say it was probably the beginning of my 40s when it first, all that sort of started. And then sort of like my 40s to 50s, it just sort of snowballed then, all the symptoms that came with it. And then I can't remember how long I've been on HRT now. It's got to be I'm 53 now. So I've probably been on HRT now for about 8 years, maybe.
There was a shortage at one point, though.
Yes.
How did you cope with that?
They just put me on different medication. So I'm on something called estrogel, which is just a pump bottle that you put. A lot of women have 1 or 2 pumps of the gel on each arm. I have 4 pumps, so I have to put a pump on each arm, pump on each leg. So in the morning, I'm you have a shower, and I'm walking around naked trying to dry it off because you can't put anything on, and you can't put your arms close to your boobs because you can't have the estrogen going close to your boobs. So you're sort of walking around trying to dry everything off. And then I have progesterone tablets as well overnight. So I have to have 2 of those. So, but to begin with, I had to, because I was having regular periods still, I'd have sort of 2 pumps of estrogel, and then I'd only have 2 tablets of progesterone a night for 2 weeks, and then I'd have a sort of a gap for 2 weeks, and then I'd start again. But then when you stop your periods, you go on the progesterone 2 tablets every night.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So I asked you earlier, and again, being a female house, we will You're laughing, but we will go through the menopause. I've joked that Vic's slowly been going through it for about 5 years.
Anything, whatever goes wrong, it's like you're going through menopause.
It's what everyone does to women.
You're going through menopause.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
But I think even when I say it to you, I think you see it as this massive label that you're not ready to embrace yet. And I think this is why it was a good idea to even have this conversation today, because it doesn't need to have stigma around it.
No.
Maybe there's not enough education around it. And so I don't want you to feel this umbrella of shame being 47, maybe because your periods have become more irregular.
Well,
We joke
they're
that
still
you...
there.
Yeah.
We joke that you have memory loss sometimes.
Well, it's probably selective. If I want to remember it or not.
Which is why she shies away from the word. But like we were talking earlier, I don't think we are educated enough. Neither one of us experienced it through our mums. My mum, I'm going to say she was 32 when she had a hysterectomy and she was almost pushed into it.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but I think she probably went into it and out of it really, really quickly. I don't remember that being a time where we didn't want to be home or anything. And then your mum had breast cancer and she was almost pushed through into it at 42.
42.
And so whenever I Google, even we Googled it yesterday, and we talk about symptoms, there's only about 5 or 6 that come up. And your last period being one of them. And I know we talked earlier and you said, I asked you when was your last period.
Yeah, so they say when you've not had a period for a full 12 months, then you need menopause. So it's perimenopause, then it's menopause. And apparently, and I might be wrong saying this, but I'm pretty sure it's 10 years in and 10 years out. So it's just 20 years of absolute shit. But yeah, like you said, you generally go by what your mums went through in regards to age. So I know my mum went through it in her 40s. So that's, you sort of tend to follow suit. But obviously you two won't, because your mum had a hysterectomy and your mum was put into it early because of breast cancer. So it is, some doctors do blood tests to see if you're going through the menopause, but other doctors don't. Like my doctors don't. They don't supply blood tests to do it. You can go private to have your bloods done, but it just depends on your doctor really whether they'll do a test for them, because women's hormones fluctuate so much they can't generally tell by blood tests alone. That's what I've been told, to see whether you are perimenopausal or not. So, and
because I guess it will be what day of the month that blood test will be took. Because
I suppose so. Yeah.
Again, in my naivety with menopause, and I can shrug it off a little bit, but our PT this morning, she was saying she's got 5 female clients currently going through menopause. And she was on about HRT, because it changes, obviously, your hormone levels.
Yeah.
Which some days maybe it's correct levels, and then some days it might be too high or too little because your body naturally produces anyway.
Yeah.
But what she was saying, out of the 5, 2 have not had any treatment. They're doing nutrition, exercise, healthy living. And I applaud that. And I know we had conversations earlier and said, in an ideal world, that would be everybody's rule.
Yeah.
And she said those 2 clients, whether that's coincidence or not, those 2 clients are they're definitely not coasting it, but she said they're riding the wave smoother than the other 3 that are having hormone treatment.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Exercise and diet is a massive thing. But if you're like me, and I try to go to the gym, and I try, and it does make you feel so much better, and as I'm sure it does male and female at any age, it makes you feel so much better about yourself, and diet. So it does massively help, but it was the HRT medication that helped me more so. So yeah, that just helped me loads really.
What did your doctor say when you did you ask for HRT, or because obviously if you're on antidepressants first, how was that transition?
I can't really remember. That'd be another symptom there, brain fog. I can remember going to get my medication off them. They didn't do any tests for me. They just said it was probably, I was around that sort of age, so I probably was going through menopause. They started me off just like gradual, really. I'd only have like one pump of gel and just, as I said before, the 2 progesterone tablets for 14 days. So I was never sort of tested to see if I was going through perimenopause. It was just all the symptoms that I'd had. Like I'd got like brain. I didn't so much have brain fog as much when I suppose when I first thought I was starting to go through menopause. It was the hot sweats, the low moods, my joints hurting, aching. I'd got something called plantar fasciitis, which is like a excruciating pain in the heel of your foot. I'd had a frozen shoulder. I'd had tennis elbows, felt like I was falling apart in my 40s. And it was only until I read Davina McCall's book, and there's like over 35, I think there might even be like over 40 symptoms of perimenopause, and they were them. They're sort of, just sort of joint problems, the plantar fasciitis, the frozen shoulder, the aching joints, and then I think it was probably if I've been on HRT for like 8 years, maybe, I'd say 4 years in, and then the brain fog just hit me like a ton of bricks. It was just horrendous. Can't remember anything at all. Steve even says sometimes, I think you need to go and get tested for Alzheimer's. And I know I haven't, I really haven't, but you just can't remember anything at all.
But even all them symptoms, what you've gone through, and then feeling that when people say, well, go to the gym or eat healthy, you obviously at that particular point, you probably don't even feel like doing any of them.
No, not at all.
So much pain.
Yeah, you don't. You just want to sit at home slobbing. You know, people say that you become more confident as you going through menopause or being in your 50s. And you do in a lot of other ways. Like I've never sort of been an outgoing, like if somebody upset me, I wouldn't say boo to a goose. Whereas now I'll tell them about it. Like with me and Steve argue constantly because I'm just like, no, hang on a minute. And I'll do it to anybody. But I was never like that. So in that way, I'm more confident and a lot more vocal. But then in other ways, I've just got like, I've got no confidence at all. You just sort of, you question everything that you do. You question, not even so much everything you do, you question yourself as a person. It's just like, you don't really know who you are anymore or what you're supposed to be doing anymore. Or, yeah, it's just shit, basically. Really shit.
Well, that's what we've got to look forward to.
Yeah.
But I suppose Davina McCall's actually brought out quite a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And I think she's been a big inspiration to a lot of women out there.
Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah. How did you find that book?
I think I just saw it on, I don't know if somebody told me, again, brain fog. I don't know if somebody told me or I saw it online, but the book's called Menopause, and I think she does it with a doctor called Naomi Potter.
Okay.
And she's really big on menopause. So if anybody wants to follow her on Instagram, she's amazing. She's really good, as is Davina McCall. But there's loads of people out there, like more so now in the last few years, probably because of Davina McCall. There's a lot more help and research out there, but
that's good.
There wasn't.
And you were talking earlier, when you say there's a lot more help out there, you were talking before we press record at some of the limits that still exist. So when you was trying to get some testosterone, you found a lot of dead ends.
Yeah, you can't get it in this country. So you can have men generally, so a lot of people think that it's only men who have testosterone, but women have testosterone as well, just not as much as men. But men can have the sachets of testosterone. But if women were to have the sachet, men would have one of those sachets a day, whereas for women, you'd have to have one of those sachets to last you over a week. So in order for me to get testosterone, I had to go private to a clinic in Stratford, and I had to pay privately for testosterone, which was like, I think it was £100 and something. I can't remember. So you can't get it on the NHS.
A week?
I think it lasted me probably a couple of months, maybe. I think I bought it I think I probably paid for it probably 3 times. So I think I was on it for about 6 months maybe.
What were the benefits though from that?
I didn't see major benefits from it. It was mainly for sort of with testosterone. It's like low sex drive, low mood. There's a lot of other symptoms as well. So I just stayed on it for like 6 months, but I just in the end just stuck with the HRT that I'm on.
You were laughing. You were going to throw a joke in there.
Was you?
I was going to throw a joke in there.
What, that Steve benefited?
I was going to say
No, he
Steve.
didn't.
I was about to say that old Stevie had a good ride. He would kill me for saying that, but yeah.
Bless him.
I just giggled at the wrong point, I think.
Yeah, this little snigger in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were talking when you went to your pharmacist, you wanted some extra vitamins.
Yeah, dick.
And I guess this is the sort of debate that came about because you will remember exactly what he's like, his attitude. And what was his words?
I just remember going because I just thought I didn't feel like my HRT at certain points was working for me, and that's happened a lot to me over the years. It works for me better now, but I always felt like I need. That's why I went to look for testosterone. But I remember going into the pharmacy and saying to him, I wanted to look at the supplements you can get, like the Well Women supplements that you can buy, vitamins, and so I remember asking him. And he said, he just turned around to me and said, "Are you on HRT?" I said, "I am." Anyway, well, that's enough then. You don't need anything else. And I just wanted to punch him straight in the face because he literally has no clue.
Yeah, and I suppose anybody what's not gone through that, I know men don't go through it, but I suppose women as well. If you've not been through that or you've not had them symptoms, I suppose you don't actually know until it happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got a couple of friends who have sailed through it and had no symptoms at all, and I'm really envious of them. But men don't know, and they have to put up with. Men need to be educated because they have to put up with women that are going through it. And I remember somebody saying to me that a lot of, or I read somewhere that a lot of relationships break up when women are in the 50s, 40s, late 40s, 50s. And somebody remarked and said, "Oh, it's because women go off and have affairs." But it's not. It's because of menopause, because you're just a completely different person. You're not that person you was when they met you. The men are probably still the same, but the women aren't. They're completely different people. So I think, men do need to be educated. Obviously, I know some women don't go through it or do go through it but don't have many symptoms or any symptoms. But men need to be educated to be able to put up with us as women.
Yeah, because I guess if we go through it, and we're not going to joke, but you're older than me.
Hello.
So you effectively should go through it quicker, but you may have a really hard time or you may sail through. And so when it comes to my time, depending on your experience, we'll probably navigate how you are with me.
Possibly, but you know that I'm very supportive and kind and caring, so
You are.
and I know Amy's quite harsh and thorough, and I'll have to just put it with
Straight to the point.
To the point.
No, but there's two of us, there'll be two hormones, but there'll be two different levels of hormones, I guess.
Yeah.
And we don't suffer too bad in terms of periods with our emotions. So I would like to think we might ride the surf
Hopefully.
relatively well.
You've been saying it for probably about 4 years that I've been going through menopause, but
you take that deep breath like it's
because
almost offensive.
It's not offensive. It's just I still feel like I'm 20.
And you behave like you're 20.
I do. In here I do, but my body tells a different story.
The one thing what's probably slightly gone is my eyesight. And yeah, sometimes my memory is probably a little bit terrible, but that's probably because I don't really, unless I really need to care about it, I don't need to keep it on board.
Yeah.
So and maybe I've got better as I've got older with that, instead of like sort of something pressuring me or something, I'll go, I'll just let that go. And maybe doing therapy and hypnotherapy as well, maybe that's taught me a lot to let things go and just go, well, do you know something? You can't control it now. I couldn't control it then. So what's point? Let it go.
Yeah.
The forgetfulness.
The forgetfulness.
And your metabolism.
Metabolism, yeah.
And your sleep. And
Oh.
your skin.
The skin's all right.
Your periods. Talking about a frozen shoulder. You've had a bad shoulder for probably 5 years.
But I think you make these symptoms up.
You have had a bad shoulder?
Yeah, but she'll go, you've had a bad shoulder, so it's going through menopause. Oh, you forgot about that, did you? You're going through menopause. Oh, your legs are hurting. Your metabolism's slow.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going through menopause. Oh, my real God.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to my wife, I'll just admit defeat and I'm going through the menopause, but I'm not.
No, I just think
You
in,
might
in,
be.
the, in the jest in the jest that we do, it just shows that there's still a lot of stigma around.
Yeah.
Maybe people think, right, I'm going through the menopause. That means I'm old. That means I have to admit defeat.
No, but I think also people, like when they're going through the menopause, sometimes people have these symptoms and go, yeah, this is what's going wrong. Like I've never actually gave birth. You gave birth to our boy, and now we've got 2 boys because obviously we've got Kai, as everyone knows. But I've never had to give birth, so then I've not gone through that cycle either.
Yeah.
So maybe, like, I'm not saying women, I just think if they've got the symptoms and they're feeling low and they're feeling like really lethargic and stuff, then maybe they do go, well, do you know something? Maybe I am going through the menopause and get some help, where I'll go, yeah, I'm not. But that's because of probably my personality and how I am.
Absolutely.
And maybe one day it'll creep up and then you might end up suffering because I'm going through menopause. But we'll just ride that wave when it comes to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you think of being old, and I think of your mum now, your mum's 75?
7.
77?
I think so.
But if she's listening, this is a compliment because I want to be my Auntie Anne when I'm 77. Like, she's incredible. So she went through the menopause at 40, but she's 77. She's a lady that trots around town.
Yeah, doesn't drive, just walks everywhere.
Jumps on a bike. Like, I want to be my Auntie Annie from 77. Yeah. Genetics are against us.
Yeah.
Especially for me with my mum's bones and stuff. So I want to be my Auntie Anne at 77. Just with less anxiety, probably.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit of a change, because I'll be pushing you around. You going through the menopause and I'm still skipping.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Maybe so. One of the things, yesterday I was getting my nails done, and we'll go back onto skin and hair and so on, being one of the reasons why we're having this conversation today. But I was getting my nails done yesterday, and this lady walks in and she says, she had blue nails, can you take it off? And I thought maybe she's having surgery or something. And she says, no, I'm going through the menopause and my nails are so sore and brittle that the solution from the doctor was take your nail varnish off.
Yeah.
So there's no real solution for the pain, but that's what she was there for, because one of the other reasons she was going through the menopause and she was suffering.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same as me. I've got now, I don't know if it's the right word, but I'm sure it's psoriasis under my nails, and it's the gel. And they started putting HEMA-free on my nails, but it still affected my nails. And again, that's just all from just going through menopause. It's just, if you've got itchy ears and your itchy eyes, and like I'm digging my hair out, like there's something crawling in there. There's nothing in there, but that's a symptom of menopause. It's just that many symptoms that you go through, and you don't put it down to menopause unless you've read about it or looked it up, and then you realise, oh, blimey, I've got all that, and I've got all that, every single one.
Every single one.
Yeah,
I'm probably ticking a few of them then on the bridge of 40.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you struggled with in the earlier days was skincare and how drastic your skin was changing.
Yeah.
And so I know you're modest, but I want you to share your experiences in your struggles to the reasons why you created your work now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was probably in my 30s when I just sort of thought I need to start looking after my skin. So I did a little bit, not major at all. And then in my 40s, my skin became really dry and really flaky, and I got patches of dry skin and just going to sort of like the the chemist or looking online and trying different things for my skin. And then I just thought I need to start looking a bit further. So that's when I started doing. I only started it about 3 years ago. I started my business with skincare and just sort of aesthetics, just to sort of help my skin as well. To begin with just to look better, to have more of a glow like I used to have. I've always had really good skin. So I just started looking into that more and just started doing lots and lots of courses. And so I started my business, and then hopefully help women to help with their skin as well while they're going through perimenopause or even before that.
But now you've got yourself a company called Wildflower.
Yeah, Wildflower Aesthetics. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you are on Instagram as well, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
There you go.
And so there will, hopefully, with our manager's expertise, there'll be a link on our episode anyway. But your skin looks incredible today.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm not being modest, but I'm the youngest between the two of you, and I feel like my skin's horrendous.
No,
it's not.
But it's not.
I'll take it. A little beauty care afterwards.
Yes.
Oh.
But yeah, I think for us, this is just touching on a topic that me and Vic are uneducated about, don't really understand. Deb, you might come on again at some point. But guys, we want your feedback. We want you to share some of your experiences, the good, the bad, the shit in between, because it's about awareness. So share it.
And we've got a few little positive quotes, as we always do at the end. We'll read one each because there's 3 on here. I'll read the one that says, menopause, a pause while you reconsider men.
I think that might be my favourite.
That's probably one that I actually really like. And then one of you two can read them. You read that one.
So it says, beware the menopause fairy. And again, this is light-hearted stuff. At first, she steals your figure. Then she steals your sleep.
Oh, God, yeah.
Next, your mood, your patience, your eyesight, and finally eats your brain. All she leaves you with is a lousy moustache, a muffin top,
Absolutely.
hot flushes, itchy skin, 10 million moods, a dodgy memory, and an endless need for naps, coffee, wine, and carbs.
Yes.
Maybe I am going through menopause because I do like wine, coffee.
I love
carbs.
that one. Okay, so mine says, menopause is a transformational phase where women emerge wiser, more confident, and ready to embrace the next chapter of life.
Welcome to the next chapter of life, Debbie.
Yes.
That you've ride out for 10 years already.
Yeah, you've got another 10 to go.
I know. Great. Thank you.
Guys, thank you very much for listening to Power Within. Hopefully, see you soon.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.